Hey YouTube, welcome to my channel. My name's Cassie. I talk about video games, do video game reviews, unboxings, pickups, and all sorts of video game related topics. Today I want to talk about Assassin's Creed Mirage, kind of like a review, just going over my history with Assassin's Creed, which I've started from the beginning, so I have a long history with them, with the series. Kind of go over that, where it ranks with the other Assassin's Creed games for me, and what I'd like to see from Ubisoft in the future when it comes to Assassin's Creed in the series. I also want to talk about Game Club because it is a new month, so we're playing a new game, and go over the games that I'm currently playing for this week. Anyway, so Assassin's Creed I've been playing since the beginning. I first played the demo at a Game Crazy, which was connected to Hollywood Video, which was kind of like a Blockbuster. Back then, I think it was like the first few years, within the first few years of the PlayStation 3's launch, because back then they did not have trophies. They later added that on, and Assassin's Creed did not have trophies when it first released. It ended up being kind of really like new and unique for everybody when it first released. I know it like supposedly didn't age too well for a lot of people, but when it first released, it was this brand new thing, you know, heavily stealth based, with a lot of accurate history. Some of it's not accurate, but like the architectural buildings and like some of the world leaders were actually real people. It was interesting. It was very stealth based, so you had to kind of like seek out these world leaders and evil people and assassinate them. But you were like sneaking around, you know, like hiding in foliage and, you know, kind of blending in with the crowd and stuff that like a lot of other games at that time did not implement anything like that, where like actual townsfolk, actually just, you know, random NPCs kind of blended in with the gameplay like that. And they also like would point out or yell at guards when you did something, and it was just really cool for its time. You know, there was Thief, you had Hitman, and like several other games that were kind of like stealth based, but not really anything like Assassin's Creed. So, I started with the first Assassin's Creed, played through the second one, you know, Brotherhood, Revelations, a little bit of 3, and then I played Black Flag, which also was amazing. And then the recent years, I dropped off after Black Flag. I came back to Origins, and then I played a little bit of Odyssey and a little bit of Valhalla. So the only ones I've fully completed, besides Mirage, are 1, 2, Origins, and that's it. I did not complete Black Flag, even though it's my second favorite. Assassin's Creed 2 is my most favorite of all of them. It was a really, really cool game. I actually have an Ezio figure here. This is from the Assassin's Creed 2. I think it's from the collector's box. I got this at a yard sale for $2, and this was probably like 5 years ago that I got it. And he's pretty awesome, so. I know I think he's worth quite a bit too. I could be wrong, but I don't know. Not too shabby there. Also with Mirage, I got a bonus through Best Buy. I know a lot of people are like, why do you pre-order things? I'm like, because sometimes you get cool stuff like this. It's just like a canvas print. So I'm not going to put it on the wall yet because I'm waiting until, you know, eventually like I move somewhere else and have a nice place with a nice game cave, well, if that ever happens again. So Mirage was following the story of Basim, and he's a character that was in Valhalla, and I think he was kind of a villain, but I did not play enough of Valhalla to really even like kind of see his character in that at all. And when they first announced Mirage, they said it was going to be more traditional style, because the new games are more of an action RPG. They're also very long. Assassin's Creed has typically been like between that like 12 and like 20-hour mark for the story at least. And they've kind of ventured off into these like 60 plus, you know, like some of them even like close to 100 hours or over 100 hours. And it's just, that's way too long for Assassin's Creed and what it is. I think like, you know, 30 hours max maybe, but 40, I don't know. Anyway, when they first announced Mirage and that it was going to be back to the traditional stealth-based gameplay, I was like super, super excited for it, because I've been craving Assassin's Creed, like the traditional style, for a long time. So I think the last one that we really had that was fully felt like Assassin's Creed was Syndicate, which I did not play for some reason. But I think that's been at least 10 years. I could be wrong. But yeah, it's been a long time since we've had, you know, the traditional style Assassin's Creed. We also don't ever have we don't have the Animus anymore, which was something that we had with Desmond Miles, and he was a modern day character that kind of teleported back through time with this machine and would jump into the minds of one of his ancestors from different time periods. And started with Altair, and then you had the Ezio trilogy, which was the best, I think. But yeah, the Animus kind of dissipated. It doesn't seem to exist anymore. They just don't really talk about it hardly at all. So that's gone. So Mirage still didn't have the Animus like they did before, but Mirage was my most anticipated game for 2023, just because of that craving that I've been having for Assassin's Creed. And I wasn't really expecting it to be anything outstanding. I just wanted it to kind of like fill that void, kind of like satisfy that craving that I've been having, which it did. This is kind of exactly what I was wanting and expecting, you know. I would have liked maybe a little bit better story, and like some of the gameplay elements needed a little bit of work, and some of the visuals did too. But overall, it did what it needed to, you know. So, Assassin's Creed Mirage, you know, follows Bassam's story. You know, like all of his friends and family and, you know, people of his town like get murdered by these world leaders, and he kind of like seeks revenge, and he becomes part of the Creed and trains to become an assassin. And so, you know, just like typical, like you're, you know, trying to track down like who's really, you know, behind all this as a whole. But you know, you assassinate the people. It's kind of like a, you know, like a chain going through the people underneath to get to the big guy. Just like most of them have been, you know. The menu system, you've got your skills that you can unlock. It's pretty clean, the UI is. The skill tree is not really, I don't feel like it's that impressive. It's okay, but it's not anything like worth going crazy over, I don't think. A lot of the ability unlocks and stuff are just, you know, felt kind of basic to me. Traversal, I had some issues with, because Bassam seems to run really slow in comparison to some of the other assassins that we've had before. I don't know if it's just me, but there was this one mission where there was only one mission where you were like, it was kind of a race against this other guy. And I was holding down, because I was playing on PS5, I was holding down L3, and it was just like he was not running at all. And it just drove me nuts. Like half the time, like when you want him to react to something, which Assassin's Creed has kind of been notorious for, you know, the character not doing what you ask of him, you know, jumping off of walls when you want him to climb higher, you know, sort of thing. But he just, I don't know, I was like, there's no way that I could have like even like come close to beating this guy. And I don't know if it was the controller I was using or, you know, it didn't seem like it was reacting to my input. So, yeah, that was kind of annoying. And I got kind of used to it. Like after a while, I was like, okay, it's okay. It's not the worst thing in the world. Combat is actually pretty simple to adjust to. You've got a block, you've got parry, dodge. They are definitely like focused more on stealth in this game. That's what they want you to do. There's different items that you can unlock, like smoke bombs, and you've got your throwing knives, and there's also like noisemakers and stuff that you can use to distract the guards and stuff. The levels of unlocking on those are actually more impressive than the skill tree itself, because it's got 3 different tiers for each item that you can unlock, and then there's like 3 different choices for each tier. So say like the first tier would be, you can have more in your inventory, you know, more capacity, or like you can throw it further, or it has a bigger like damage radius or something, you know, and then you can only select one of those per tier. So it's pretty cool, and it, you know, it's pretty easy to use and switch between different, like, you know, the wheel and stuff. It works pretty well. It's pretty smooth. Stealth mechanics still work just as well as like most, you know, Assassin's Creeds have worked. You know, you can still jump off, you know, the roof into like a roof. I say, yeah, sorry. You can jump off the roof into a haystack, you know, or like a bed of flowers, or, you know, leaves or whatever, undetected. It's still fun climbing, still fun like collecting everything in every zone. I actually fully completed every zone. I did not get 100%. I did not get the platinum trophy on Mirage, but I came to about like 80%. And I did fully explore every area. I fully completed every area, every zone. There were a few trophies that I think I just didn't really care to like go after and get, but I got like every collectible and everything. So I actually did have a fun time too doing it. So there's like certain games that like don't feel like they're as much of a chore doing all these side things. So I didn't do every one of those like optional missions. I did not do, because from what I hear, they just kind of keep going on and on and on. They're good for leveling, but I didn't really care to do that. So, you know, I did some of them, but not a whole lot. Eagle Vision works just like it's worked in other games. You know, there's a marksman, you know, in some areas, so you have to take out the marksman before... is it an eagle or a hawk? Because it looked more like a hawk to me. Oh, you know what? It's because I changed it. Because you can change what your like horse and your eagle looks like, and I switched mine to a hawk, so that's why. But yeah, your eagle or your hawk, whatever you choose. I think there's something else too. I don't remember what it was. can kind of survey the area while you're like stealthily like hiding in the leaves or something. That way you can kind of like mark enemies so that they kind of like show up in your radius, so you're aware of them being there. Kind of track them and stuff. It works just fine. Save points, you can only save outside of restricted areas. So restricted areas, restricted zones, once you go into those, if an enemy sees you, they will come and attack you. So you have to kind of like stay hidden out of sight. It will kind of, on top, there's like a kind of like a mini, like a compass that kind of like shows you like where you're going, just like a lot of games do. But once you get close to a restricted area, it'll start to kind of like show like a yellow, and then it like kind of expands until it's like fully expanded out, and then it turns red, which means that you're in there. If there's any yellow on there at all, so once you start to get close to a restricted zone, you cannot save. So you need to save before you go into these big areas where you're going to like spend a lot of time in and be, you know, attacked and stuff a lot. So you want to be stealthy, but there are a lot of times when you can't be, so you want to save before that. There's not really a good auto-save system, so you want to make sure that you remember to save in this game. I did that quite a bit. So, which, I mean, that's fine. It's not a big deal. It's just, you know, that sometimes when you get into those restricted zones for like a mission, like it's going to be pretty lengthy. You're going to be in there for a while, and you're not going to be able to save at all. So you want to make sure that you plan that out. And then, you know, there's NPCs that like sell extra items and stuff, so you want to like make sure that you fill your inventory before you go into those and then save, you know. I mean, it, you know, plays just like most Assassin's Creed games does. The soundtrack, actually, the mixing, the sound mixing, and some of the songs that came on kind of like out of nowhere had like, there was a mix of like what felt like the original Assassin's Creed kind of like, you know, theme, and it was mixed to fit in with this game, and it just, I was like, man, this really hits. Like, I was like really surprised. Like, sometimes out of nowhere, like there would be some music that would come in that I'd just be like, wow, that sounds really freaking good for this game. Like, the soundtrack was pretty incredible, I will say that. Visuals were really, really nice, but I did have some problems with some of the facial features. The facial reactions, I think, on some of the characters when you were in a cutscene did not feel like they were like fully done. Sometimes their eyes looked kind of blank, you know, just kind of like empty, like they were just kind of like staring out into space. It didn't really it looked more like a early PS4, I guess you'd want to say. Like, I was like, they probably could have worked on that quite a bit more, but I'm the only one that I know of that really even said anything about that. But maybe I've just been playing too many games where like they look very realistic with their like facial reactions. But anyway, they didn't in this. So other than that, the visuals were nice. There were quite a few glitches and stuff, just like they typically have in Assassin's Creed. You know, Assassin's Creed at launch have always been pretty notorious for having kind of like game-breaking glitches. I had a lot in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood specifically. That one actually, like, I quit playing because the bugs were bad. And I never went back to it, even though it was a really good game, but it did not launch smooth. But yeah, I ran into a few glitches. I will say that it was more polished, I think, than some of the others for it being launched. But yeah, it did have the typical like jankiness of Assassin's Creed. How it would rank with the other Assassin's Creed games that I've played. Now, like I said, I told you I've played most of them except for, Unity, Rogue, Syndicate, and I've only played a little of 3. But I'd say it's definitely above Revelations. I like all of them in their own way, but it may be above the first one, maybe. For me, like nostalgic reasons, like I really like the first Assassin's Creed, but I know for a lot of people it doesn't really hit anymore. But I always just think of the ending of Assassin's Creed 1 and like how amazed I felt like at the end of it, and how I could not wait for the sequel. So it's kind of hard for me to like rank it above that. But I would say it's a pretty good game. But it's definitely not anywhere near 2 or Black Flag for me at all. And what I'd like to see in the future, I know they're working on Red, which is going to be more of an action RPG based game. And I think it's set in Japan. Yeah. But I would like to see like more stealth based games, every like few years or so. Don't fully like go away from that. Maybe bring back the Animus at some point, I don't know. I know that like I think I heard they were making a remake of Black Flag and maybe of the first Assassin's Creed, but I don't know how true that is or if that's still happening. That would be cool. That's kind of like really all I have. Also, the ending of Assassin's Creed Mirage was kind of confusing for me, but I, again, did not play Valhalla, so I don't really... That's probably why I don't understand it so much. But, I mean, there were parts that were, like, really good in the story, but there were also, like, a lot of parts that I was just like, I don't know. That's okay. But if you're into the older Assassin's Creed games, definitely check this out. Or if you're just looking for something that's kind of like an endless fun, I did have fun with it. I had a really good time. I put 38 hours into this game, and I had fun doing it. And it didn't feel like a chore. I actually had more fun playing this game than I did Final Fantasy 16. And I would give it an 8 out of 10, just like I did Final Fantasy 16. But because Final Fantasy 16 just had incredible like moments with icons, and with the story and the character development, and the music also. But some of the gameplay just really did not hit for me. Anyway, yeah, I liked it quite a bit. Will it be on my game of the year? No. Neither this or Final Fantasy 16 will make it to my top 5. But I did have a good time, and I enjoyed my playthrough. And it released at $40 or $50 brand new. I think it was $50, which is $20 less than other games brand new. So, they did this because it was going to be a shorter game. I put 38 hours into it, and I did not platinum. And How Long to Beat says like 22 to 28 hours for a completionist. So that's just me, though. Like, I take my time, and I take a lot longer. So I enjoyed it. Enjoyed my time with it. So yeah, definitely check it out. Now moving on to Game Club. Game Club is our Game of the Month club on Facebook. It's kind of like a book club, but for video games. And every month we play a new game together as a group, and we discuss it. So November's game is Assassin's Creed Unity, which was kind of funny because everyone just started voting for Assassin's Creed Unity 3 and Syndicate. I think just because of Mirage, everybody got nostalgic for it and they wanted to go back to some of the older games. So this is the game that won. So we will be playing through Unity. And we also have a Game of the Quarter game, which is for a long game. And we're playing Blue Dragon through December. So definitely come and check us out. Pretty much it's, every month we play a game. That game is chosen by a voting thread that we put up on the 10th every month. And on the 15th, the wheel spins, and whatever it lands on is the game we end up playing. The rules are for those voting threads is that they have to be under 20 hours long. This is for the Game of the Month one. They have to be under 20 hours long. They have to be under $20 in price. But Game Pass, Nintendo Switch Online, and PlayStation Plus Premium are included in that because they are currently still under $20 for the month, so it counts. And it counts also digital as well, so if they're on Steam or, purchased online, whatever. So emulators don't count. And everybody gets 2 votes. And some people get more votes, but those extra votes come from people that have completed games that we are playing or games that we have previously played in the group. This group's been going for almost 10 years, I think. So, yeah, we've got a long list of games that we've played over the years. So anybody plays any of our older games or plays one of the games that we are currently playing and they share their completion screen, they get an extra point or an extra vote. 1-up is what we call them. If they platinum it, they get an extra 3. And if they do a video review, they get an extra point. So total of 5 per game that they can get, and those are extra votes added onto the 2 votes that are already there, and they just have to be within those rules. They can't be something that we've already played before either. So for the Game of the Quarter, it has to be over 20 hours long, and it has to be less than $50 in price. So that's just kind of how that works, and it's same voting thread and everything like that. So yeah, it's a fun time, and there's a lot of games that I've come across that I have not even heard of before that I ended up playing and I just really, really loved. So a lot of favorites discovered through this group. So definitely check us out and look at I have a link in the description below if you guys want to check it out and join. Now you can't see anything in there unless you join the group because it's private now. Thanks, Corey. Yeah, so check us out. What I'm playing this week, I started Spider-Man 2 the other night, and that opening scene was incredible. If it holds out to be like this the entire game, then it's definitely gonna end up being my personal game of the year. Now, granted, I have not played Baldur's Gate 3 yet. It's still on my waiting to play list, hopefully after Spider-Man, but there's so many games to play. It's ridiculous. Yeah, but I was really impressed with that opening, and when the game, when you're actually playing the game and the cutscenes look just as good, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool, because not a lot of games do that. You can definitely tell the difference between a cutscene and the actual in-game play. I'm also playing Endling Extinction is Forever. This was a game that was one of the monthly PlayStation Plus games that I ended up getting a couple months ago, and I didn't really know much about it. I thought it was going to be a walking sim with the fox, but it ends up being a survival game with the fox. And it looks like it's going to be kind of sad, probably. I'm about 10 days in, and you've got like these little kits or cubs. There's 4 of them, and they can die. You have to feed them, you have to take care of them, have them learn skills, and also like sometimes you might have like one of your kits get like kidnapped or something by a human, or and so you have to like kind of go after them. And I like it. Indie games are just, you know, they're unique, honestly. Like there's a lot of indie games that really kind of go under the radar that I think are like really fantastic, and people really should like give them more thought, because just because they're lower budget does not mean that they're bad. Not in the slightest, because some of these games have more heart. A lot of them have more heart and more thought put into them, and they're definitely like different, you know, like they have a uniqueness to them that a lot of AAA don't have anymore. So yeah, definitely don't sleep on indies. Check them out. But I'm also playing, speaking of indies, Jusant just came out on Halloween, actually. This is on Game Pass, so I decided to download it immediately, and it's made by the creators of Life is Strange, Don't Nod. And it's about this kid. I don't know if he has like some sort of power or something. His companion, an animal like companion, has like this power where it can kind of like restore kind of like the grass and the environment and stuff, because I guess Jusant kind of is a French word that stands for like receding tide, I think. So like in the game, like it's like the ocean has been like sucked away, so you're kind of like at the bottom of the ocean. You're trying to like climb up to land. Like everything, like the water is all gone, all the people are gone. Like there's all these like old like civilizations and towns and stuff, and I think they all like ran out of water. I'm not really sure, I don't want to spoil too much, but there's like little notes and stuff that you find that kind of tell you the story. There's no dialogue or anything, but like finding these notes, you can kind of like understand what's actually going on. And so your little companion and you are like climbing to the top, and you're kind of restoring things as you go, and it's really cool. It's a climbing game, but I definitely like it. It's definitely quite a bit different than Life is Strange, you know, but it's a pretty game, and it's really well done. It's got a lot of like 9 out of 10s too on the reviews, and I can understand why. So yeah, this is it for me today, and I will see you next week. And if you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you